Seriously, I've done this once already tonight and I messed it up, so I guess I've got to do it again. So I'm going to read this chapter for the second time tonight because I apparently don't know what I'm doing. Imagine that. So, hi, boys and girls. How are you? Miss you immensely. I am going to go ahead and read chapter 20 to you. So what you're seeing right now is you see me down in the corner. You see chapter 20 in front of you. So this kind of alleviates me having to give you all the different things to make this work. So I will give you the actual PDF file too. So you can, if it's too small on the video, you can at least look at it on the PDF file. I know some of you are using your cell phones. So I'm not really sure how small this will be because right now, I mean, it looks fine to me, but I don't know what it's going to look like on your phone. So we are going to read chapter 20. Like I said, I thought I was recording the first time, and apparently I wasn't. So this is my second go around with this, which seems to be pretty normal. Who knew we were going to be doing this? Just a recap. Chapter 19 was where we found out at the end of chapter 19 that Virginia Company has given Captain Newport an order to crown Chief Powhatan and make him part of King James and be a prince to King James, which Samuel knows and John Smith know that is stupid and it's not going to work really well. So that's kind of where we left off. And so that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to jump into chapter 20 right here. And hopefully it works for me the second time around. I hope. All right, so we're on chapter 20. And I'll just kind of move this around as I need to as we read. You guys can just follow along and listen to me, give you some sort of normalcy in this crazy, messed up, crazy time period that we're in at this moment in time. I have no words. All right, here we go. The morning we are to leave for Rokomoko, I'm jittery with excitement. Namatak is too. It will be his first time since he went to England. We will have lots of stories to tell his people. You will love my home, he says to me. It is, I know, I interrupt. It is much better than my home. We both laugh. Namatak collects the gifts he received in England, a red velvet cassock, which he says is not as warm as a deerskin mantle, a pewter chalice, which he says is not as good as a gourd to drink out of, and an ivory tooth scraper, which he refuses to use because he says the Indian way of cleaning his teeth with a sassafras root is much better. I gather my spoon and bowl and a water skin. We present ourselves to Captain Smith, each with a small bundle to carry. Captain Smith looks up from cleaning his musket. Samuel, where is your sword? Where's your armor? Go back and get properly attired. But I thought you were at peace with the Powhatans, I wanted to say. I know better than to argue with Captain Smith, so I simply go to my cabin and do as he says. At least he's not making me carry my heavy musket on the hike to Rokomoko. When I go back to Captain Smith's cabin, the carpenter John Layden is sitting out front with his tools, working at and making a small wooden chest. He's carving initials into the top of the chest. He already has an A, and as I watch, he finishes a B. Who is that for? I ask. He keeps his eyes cast down, intent on his work, and does not answer me. Then it dawns on me. I tip my head close to his. Is it for her? I whisper. He glances at me, and I see he's afraid to tell me, afraid I will announce it and give the other men a chance to ridicule him. I look at the small chest. It's beautifully grafted out of cherry wood, a work of love. I watch him as he begins to carve a border around the initials. John Layden is a quiet man. He is sturdy and kind, and he's the only man who has decided to woo Miss Ambrose with something other than bragging and strutting. I lean close again. She likes flowers, too, I say. He gives me a quick smile and continues his work. Captain Smith is ready to go. He carries his musket and has not one but two bandoliers of gunpowder strung around across his chest. His sword hangs at his side, and he is wearing full armor. He looks like he's going into battle, not like he's visiting someone to invite them to get some presents. This crowning of Powhatan must truly be a bad idea. There are only 6 of us going. Me, Captain Smith, Namatak, and 3 soldiers. We hike over land for about 20 miles. When we come to the Pamunkey River, which separates us from Orokomoko, we find a canoe in the rushes and use it to paddle across. When we reach the other side, I see nothing but tall, grand trees with their leaves turning red and gold. Come, says Namatak, Picagwe. A worn footpath brings us into the woods, and soon as I smell the smoke from cook fires. Namatak breathes deeply and smiles. He's coming home. We come to where the houses of Orokomoko are gathered, straw-colored rectangular houses with curved roofs. There are at least 20 of them scattered among the trees with gardens in between. They're about the size of ours, but made of rushes woven together. 3 small boys run out to greet us. Namatak lifts the littlest one into the air. He laughs and says in Algonquin, "You grew so much while I was gone. You must have eaten a whole bear." More people from the village come to see who has arrived. Captain Smith speaks with one of the elders. He tells him we have gifts for Chief Powhatan brought from England. Will the great chief come to Jamestown to receive his gifts? The elder says that Chief Powhatan is in another village 30 miles away. He will send for him immediately, but he will not arrive until tomorrow. I'm relieved. We do not have to anger Chief Powhatan quite yet. It's beginning to get dark, and the air is filled with chirping of crickets and cicadas. The elder motions for us to follow him, and he leads us to a field. 2 young boys lay down mats for us to sit on, and then they build a fire. Are we being invited for supper? Are they about to start cooking on the fire, I wonder? We sit on the mats, and various people from the village come to sit near us. A few old men and women, many children and young warriors. They're all silent, their faces expectant, as if they're waiting for something to happen. But no one brings food to cook on the fire. My stomach begins to churn. What's going on? What are they expecting to happen? I am glad I have my sword, but what are they going to do to us? Captain Smith sits on the mat next to me. His eyes are wary, and I know that he, too, suspects this might be a trap. I touch his sleeve. What are they doing? I whisper. Suddenly shrieking and howling erupt from the forest. The same battle cries I heard the night James was killed. I leap to my feet and pull out my sword, ready to fight and slash. Captain Smith draws his sword. He seizes an old man sitting near us and holds the sword to his throat. Our soldiers aim their muskets into the dark forest. The howling comes closer and louder. Our attackers will be upon us at any moment. Out of the shadows, a little girl comes running. She rushes up to us and stands bravely in front of the loaded muskets. It is Pocahontas. I promise. No harm will come to you, she says, holding out her hands, palms up. If I'm wrong, you may kill me. Captain Smith lets go of the old man. He translates what Pocahontas has said for the soldiers, and they slowly lower their muskets. All right, Captain Smith says, still looking worried. Pocahontas recognizes me and smiles. She comes to me and Captain Smith and gives us the same look of expectancy I've been seeing all evening. Just watch, she says. Then in English she adds, you like. I grin. Captain Smith must have taught her some English words during her visit to our fort and his visits to her village. She takes our hands, pulls us both down onto our mats, and settles in between us. The fire casts a moving light. Into that firelight leaps a form. Is it a buck? I blink. It's a woman. She's wearing the horns of a buck. Another woman leaps into the light, then another and another, all dancing and shrieking their battle cries, their bodies painted white and black and red. Some wear buck horns on their heads, and each carries a weapon. One a club, another a sword, another a bow and arrows. The young women leap and whirl around the fire, their battle cries now mixing with the music of the drums and rattles. They bring the night alive with their warrior dances. I watch, spellbound. It's magic. The music and dancing lasts for at least an hour. Then the women run off into the darkness of the forest, shrieking the same as when they come. There is a moment of hushed silence. Then everyone starts talking and laughing, with children running and playing, and everyone starts getting up from their mats. Pocahontas looks at me, and her eyes glowing. Did you like it? She asked in Algonquin. I nod enthusiastically. Wow, I say. This is a new Algonquin word I learned from Namatak. Wow is their word for wonder and awe, and it is definitely the best word to describe what I had seen. I had heard about the masquerades in England with their grand costumes and music and acting, but only nobles are allowed to see them. Now I have seen a new world masquerade while sitting next to a princess. With torches lighting our way, Pocahontas leads us back into the village to one of the houses. There the young women dancers join us, still in their costumes of body paint. They all act as if they are in love with Captain Smith and our soldiers. They crowd around them, giggling and saying in English, "Love you, not me? Love you, not me?" I raise my eyebrows at Pocahontas. "Who teach them that?" I ask. She gives me an impish look and she shrugs. I smell something delicious and turn to see several older women bringing in platters of food. There are large wooden bowls of steaming beans, peas and squash, platters of roasted fish and venison, baskets of bread and fruit. It is a feast. I eat until I can't stuff in another bite. When Amatak sees me yawning, he takes me by the shoulders and steers me towards the door. "You will sleep in my house tonight," he says. Outside, the night air is brisk, but when we enter Namatak's house, it is a toasty warm from a fire. From a fire in the middle of the dirt floor. The smoke gathers in the high ceiling and escapes through a hole in the roof, lining the walls. There are platforms made with poles, reed mats, and skins. I see that Namatak's brothers, the three little boys who greeted him when he arrived, are already asleep on the platforms. He points to where I will sleep next to the smallest boy. He gives me a deerskin blanket to keep me warm. As I lie on the bed, I can still hear the talking and laughing coming from the house where the feast is going on. Namatak is right, I think. His home is much better than Jamestown. There is more food and more joy to be had in one night here than in a whole year in Jamestown. Thomas Savage only stayed for a little while in Romokomoko. Why did he not beg to be allowed to stay forever? I wish I could come here to live. I would learn the Algonquin language even better, and I would be able to trade and help the colony. Namatak could teach me to make a bow and arrows and to shoot straight. I could hunt and help to feed us. I wonder if this is what Reverend Hunt means about making decisions out of love. Love for our newfound friends, Indian friends. Love for our fragile New World colony. Sorry, guys. I remember when we first landed in Virginia, and again the night of the Indian raid, how I thought I hated all the natives, and I wanted our men to shoot them and kill them. Those thoughts seem so strange to me now. Now that Namatak has become my friend and Chief Powhatan has rescued us from cold and starvation, and the Princess Pocahontas has treated us as her countrymen, this new world is a good place to live, I think, as long as we live in peace with the Powhatan people. Then I remember how Captain Smith dressed as a warrior to bring news of the coronation to Chief Powhatan, how he said this news would not sit well with the chief, and I wonder how long the peace and love will last. And that's the end of chapter 20. So we've got a lot of questions going on with this, like, what's going to happen when Captain Smith does address the issue about, crowning Chief Powhatan. How is he going to react? I'm interested to see what's going to happen at that particular moment. And so we'll find that out next week when we'll finish the book next week. Okay. So I am going to, underneath this video or underneath on the comments of Google Classroom, I'm going to post a question. It's going to kind of start a little bit of a debate. I kind of want you guys to kind of feed off of each other and react and talk to each other. Don't be putting anything inappropriate on here. I want your comments to be focused strictly on the chapter 20 that we just read. So Dustin, that includes you, buddy. Okay. All right. Make sure your comments go exactly with what we were talking about. So, if I ask the question and let's say Savannah gets on and she makes a reply, then I want you guys to kind of feed off of each other. I agree. I disagree. I think this, I think that. Questions you have that you think might be coming up or might become an issue. We're just going to have a little bit of an online discussion about chapter 20, and I will get involved with the discussion as well. So that's kind of what we're going to do for tomorrow. I just really mainly wanted you guys to listen to the chapter. Hopefully this worked a little better than last time. If you guys are in connection with your friends, there are some kiddos in our classroom. This is to both of my classrooms. I'm talking to both of you at the same time for Mrs. Moat's homeroom and Mrs. Sullivan's homeroom. There's some kiddos that I haven't seen. Guys, if you can get in contact with your friends, that would be fantastic. I've tried to call and get in contact with some of them, and I haven't seen a lot of them. So like in Mrs. Sullivan's homeroom, I haven't seen anything coming from Riley, Miley, John, Brody, Jocelyn. I think Cassidy just commented today because I'm looking to see if you guys are reading chapter 19 and doing the questions. Sidley, if anybody can get in contact with Sidley, tell her she needs to be checking Google Classroom daily. Check Google Classroom daily, guys, because every other day I'm going to be posting something, every evening actually, I'm going to be posting something for the next day. So you need to make sure that you are checking Google Classroom daily so you're not getting behind. This isn't what we had imagined our next 3 weeks to be like in school, but that's what our reality is right now. So we're just going to go with it the best we can. I haven't seen a lot from Kaylee. Justin, MIA. Somebody, find Justin. Serena. Mrs. Moat's class. I haven't seen anything from Glavin, Jacqueline, Kaiser, Phoebe, Elizabeth, Grace, Jackson. None of this might have changed. I haven't really looked. Peyton, Keegan. Guys, if you have connections with your buddies on TikTok or Facebook or whatever, try to get them to make sure they're checking their Google Classrooms daily, okay? All right, I don't want them to miss out on the content, okay? All right, you guys, I miss you so much. I really don't like this. This is not how I envisioned the end of the year looking like, and I'm hoping it's not going to be the entire end of the year, but I miss you guys. If you need anything from me, message Dojo, you know my email. Yeah, so I'm going to embed this and you guys will be able to listen to chapter 20. You guys have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay inside. I will talk to you guys all on Monday. Bye, guys.